Content.
Aaron, what is content?
Content is that thing that you do when you take something and you make something and it's a thing and then you put it out and it's a thing for people to see.
That's a pretty good definition of content. I would have to agree.
Are you content with that content?
I am. There was a moment when everything became content. It became a catch-all term. I remember content being sort of like a gross corporate-y term, but then it kind of became a catch-all, more accepted term amongst everybody. I think it was used ironically so much that it just became, the joke became what was serious and real.
I don't know when the switch was, but all of a sudden it felt like overnight everybody was calling it content, like all at once.
Like pretty much it's anything you can watch.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Fonecallz. This is episode 47, if you can believe it or not. We're inching towards that 50 mark.
Wait, is it 7?
Oh, is it 47 or 46? Did you say 46?
No, 47. You're right. Sorry.
Woo! I am Aaron Frank, and with me is...
Varn Dargatano.
And you guessed it. Today we're talking content.
That was our topic.
And I think it's a general enough topic that encompasses, like you said, everything now. Everything is everything is devolved into this just like oozy pit of, it's just like, doesn't it just feel like mass? It's just like a thing that exists.
Yeah, it's like a growing like tumor, pulsing tumor that's also like you said, kind of oozing like a tar, and the puddle is slowly just creeping into everything.
If content is a cancer, it's like the fastest growing cancer ever.
It is definitely growing at an exponential rate. But it's a benign tumor. I think
hurt.
It doesn't quite hurt. We're not going to cut it off yet. But when we do cut it off, we will record it on an episode of like Dr. Pimple Popper saying it'll be content.
No escaping it.
Now, Aaron, I don't know if you wanted to start the episode off like this, but sometimes there is so much content that things and ideas and concepts can overlap.
Oh, I was like, what are you getting at? Yeah, maybe we should dive in. I think we both agreed we're not going to give specifics. We will dip into a little bit of, I don't know, drama that occurred the last two nights. That was like not that big of a deal, but yeah, that we instigated. But it's not anything. But it's actually a perfect opening for this episode. You're right.
And I also want to say that I do want to talk about it more to discuss how we handle it differently than drawing attention to the actual little dumb thing itself.
Yeah, that's smart. So the gist is, for anybody not aware, which is probably most people, that's how I want to keep it.
Nobody.
Cooper sent a text to Vinny and I the other night. It was a TikTok video, and we went on and viewed it, and it was a sketch that it was like a relatively popular TikTok group put together, and the similarities to one of our sketches, I think we all found pretty striking. Like, to me, maybe we all have our own interpretations. To me, it was very alike. It was like, it felt like they had to have pulled the idea from our sketch. You maybe think differently. I don't know.
Upon seeing it, I'm like, oh, they used the idea or inspired by it. Like, I don't know, it could range from like maliciously ripped it off to like they saw it and then just were inspired by it later and didn't even remember where the idea came from. Like, that's totally that's within their own possibilities too. As well as, I know this sounds crazy because you said in no universe is this a coincidence. Maybe they just had the same idea. Like, it really isn't that crazy to me.
I think where we differ on it. That's where we'll fork off. I'm with you on the first half of it, because the more I thought about it and the more you were kind of defending it, I was like, okay, yeah, like you never know where like inspiration strikes, where ideas occur. We watch so much stuff online. I needed to check myself after this happened. Well, first let's talk about what actually happened. So after we had saw the video, I texted you guys. I said, I'm gonna write something. Like, I don't know why. I was just like, my blood was boiling a little bit. It probably got a little it was a little overdone. But I wrote, this is a ripoff of our sketch that we made in this year. That's pretty much what I commented. And then I knew that I was entering the lion's den because, like I said, this is a popular TikTok group. And any time that you're going to go on somebody else's turf with their fans and throw some shade, you're going to get, your ass handed to you. And like, sure enough, like there was a lot of people defending them, saying everything from like, who cares, to, well, your video wasn't funny, to this is not similar at all.
To, the idea is not like, you guys weren't breaking ground either with this idea.
Yeah, it wasn't groundbreaking idea. It was actually, I was laughing at some of the responses. So we left it at that we didn't touch it. And then the guys responded who made it and followed it up with, what did they say? They said, we just watched yours. Yes, they are extremely similar, but no, we did not rip. Yeah, come on, we did not rip this off. Yours has 20,000 views and was made years ago or something.
Yeah.
to which, again, we left it that. I'm not trying to instigate any further.
No, I don't.
I definitely probably shouldn't have even sent the comment because, like,
I kind of wish you did, but
I know you wish I didn't. But at the time, I was like. And I should also say this comes off of years, and I'm not trying to like excuse it because it was probably just a petty thing to do, but this comes off of like years of having like ideas taken, our own videos ripped and uploaded elsewhere. Literally, I think we talked about on this podcast before, annoying, like one of our most popular videos got sampled in a song by some kid that we didn't know about, and it got transferred into the library of YouTube that like they check for copyrights, and now we can't upload that anywhere or else we get flagged for copyright on our own video. I mean, like stuff like that, so I think years of frustrations built, and seeing it done in TikTok form, like a video of ours, I was just like, you know what, whatever. And I really didn't think anything was going to come of it. I thought it was going to get buried, and then everybody was responding to it. I was like,
I kind of thought so too. I thought like, I when you posted, I was like, no, they're not even going to see it. But it's like still the top. I think last time I checked, it was like the top comment on the thing, and people just keep adding out of the pile. And I'm like, oh, we just look like idiots now. I don't know if you feel that way. I feel.
No, well, I think it's funny, and also
I'm all insecure about it. I'm like, no, I don't want to incur the wrath of 1,000 strangers.
Well, so to go back to what you had said before. I agree that there's so much out there. So like in their defense, while I don't think it's likely, there is a possibility that they saw it and then totally forgot about it. And then one day inspiration struck and we're like, I got an idea for a video. And they couldn't attach it to anything. And they were just like, we're going to make this. I think it's probably more likely, in my opinion, that they saw it. We're like, yeah, we could do a variation on this. And these guys don't have many views on this. Like, why not? That's what I think happened, in my opinion.
And they, what did they said, the way they worded it was like, no, we didn't rip it off. And
well, yeah, because of course. Because
and
in,
you know
no,
what?
in no way were they about to admit that they stole an idea on a page of their own videos in front of their own fans. Like, even if they did,
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
I know you will. That's fine. I personally won't. I will give them the benefit of the doubt that I think it's more likely, like you had said, like they saw it, maybe forgot about it, about where they pulled the idea from. But the idea itself, and again, I don't want to get into specifics, but the idea itself it doesn't feel to me like when you add up all the parts of like what made the sketch, it didn't feel to me like, huh, like I got it. Like the coincidences, there are too many variables in the idea that aligned that I was like, okay, this just feels.
Until the end, they did a completely different ending. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but the
like
core
one...
of it, the core of
Sure.
it was the core idea.
Sure. Yeah.
And so again,
Whatever.
you're right. I mean, slightly different. Did it justify the comment? No, probably not. So I want to eat crow here and say like, yeah, I got a little hot-headed. But I also don't want to be that guy now that I sent the comment to like go back and delete it because that looks.
Well, you don't delete. You just say, hey, because my suggestion was, I if it were up to me, I would post that clip from Zoolander when Zoolander's talking to Hansel and he goes, maybe I just what does he say? Like, I don't know, because like your career's blossoming and mine's kind of winding down.
Cooper put it so well in the text too. He was like, either way, we look like these old guys who are mad that these young kids are coming and taking their jobs. And
yeah, it does. That's what I don't want it to look like, and that's kind of how I feel it comes off.
Whatever. There's truth in comedy, and there it is. I don't care. I don't care enough to be like. And I also, if I gotta be honest with myself, I just feel like it was a ripoff. But what have you. So with that in mind, I think that is like a good segue into the episode because content in general. So I look through these guys' page and I've seen their stuff before. They make some, I should actually toot their horn a little bit after we had just went through all that and just say without actually saying their name because I don't want to draw any more attention to this, that they make funny videos.
I looked through some of their stuff
their other stuff is not stolen and it's original.
Yeah, I thought they make funny stuff too.
Yeah, so they're a good group of dudes and they have a lot of videos. And anytime I go to somebody's TikTok page and I see it like just like 100, 200 deep, content comes to mind. It's a lot of content. And
drops in the bucket.
When we were like doing YouTube, it wasn't as like you needed to be consistent, but early on, I don't think people were thinking consistency as much.
We certainly weren't. I think some people were.
Some people were like, but I don't think it was like in the I don't think everybody was internalizing like, oh, this is how you, because also YouTube had a very different system in the beginning. They had a front page where they would feature videos. Like their algorithm was probably way different. So I don't think like the upload cycle, the consistent daily grind was as much of a thing as it has turned into, at least. But now,
have you ever heard the term content brain?
Maybe. What is it?
I think it's like just a way to like, wait, is it? No, not. I'm pretty sure I'm not making this up, but content brain. It's just like, I don't. It's just someone who, it's like they see the world as like potential content. Like everything, you like look around and the world is just like every interaction, every little thing.
It's like, how can I make that a video?
Is like everything is fodder for content. You got content brain. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it sounds right.
Well, it sounds like it sounds like a thing anyways. I mean, I'm sure people like creators think like that.
Well,
I mean, when we were
Oh, I was gonna say, I remember. Well, I think we were the same way, and I remember very specifically when I like that little stint I had doing stand up without even trying to. Like, I remember my brain switching from like structuring things as sketches to structuring things as like jokes. Like my subconscious started working differently, where like it just became like, oh, that would be a funny like bit, like stand up bit. So.
Well, speaking of that, you used to, I can't pull any specifics, but you used to do stuff, I remember, and I would be like, Vin, why did you do that? And you'd be like, I thought it'd be like an experience, like a story to tell, or like a short idea. Like you would go out of your way. Again, I can't think of anything, but like you would have either odd interactions or put yourself in weird scenarios and later just be like, yeah, it would make for like a funny story or
what
scene.
is ironic about that is I couldn't tell you one of them now.
So did it work or not?
So there was, I mean, maybe like back when we were creating stuff, consistently, like maybe it worked to inspire something. But the fact that it's funny you even say that because I feel like I've talked about this before. I've definitely talked about this before. The idea of going out of your way to have an experience to then, well, I feel two ways about this. Going out of your way to like experience things, like, I mean, hey, that's what life's all about. But when I think of like content, when I think of content or like, and specifically like writing a story and things that naturally have like conflict in them, is what makes them interesting. Going out of your way to do something that is going to be potentially like harmful or like you're going to cause like a disturbance in somebody else's life, that I'm not cool with it so much anymore. I guess if you're going out of your way to do something benign, that's cool. But if you're going to go out of your way to do something that's like going to be potentially harmful to somebody else, then it's like, well, don't do that.
Do you mean like prank videos where people are like hitting other people or?
Sure, prank video, but I mean even doing stuff that like, I'm talking like you're doing like how you're saying I would do it to just have the experience. Like it wouldn't even be like I wouldn't even be recording anything at the time. I would just be going to do something to then later have.
But I don't think you would do anything that would like affect others negatively. Not that I can think of.
No, the reason we've been going on this rant, because I don't want to go on this rant again, but I'll just do it real quick. When I was watching when Girls was on and it was very popular, I remember getting halfway through the second season of Girls, and there's this scene in there where Lena Dunham's character does something and then it kind of blows up in her face and she's all upset about it. And then she pretty much goes on this monologue about like, I do things so that I can talk about them so others can experience them. And to me, that just felt like so contrived and inauthentic that it's like, well, I don't care about the pain you feel now because you went out of your way to feel it for what? For my entertainment? Well, then it's just, I don't care. So I turned it off and then I turned on Full Metal Alchemist because anime just felt like a nice palate cleanser to that. And so that's just you saying that is what made me think of that. I don't know. It was like a very like, honestly, kind of a formative moment where I was like, with this, that feels wrong to me.
And it's, yeah. I see what you're saying.
But also, but again, you can go out of your way to have experiences as long as they're not like purposefully you're trying to like fuck with somebody's life.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of content, like what shows are you watching right now, dude?
I actually was going to bring that up because there are two. You know that I don't get around to watching a lot, but Andor.
Nope.
You haven't watched any of it?
We talked about this on when we were together in person.
Oh, did we? I must have just started it around that time.
I was at a coffee shop yesterday, and there were three people sitting down next to me, and the one guy was like, "Andor is great."
It is. Yeah, it is. So. It's like what gets me is every episode. I'm like the sets, like everything. We're getting to a point now where this one movie of this level of production value would impress me, and now it's like 10 movies. Like right. you get 10 movies of the sets, the costume design, the just everything is so much more. I can't even wrap my head around how much that would be to tackle, like having put together our first feature, which was on a shoestring budget, and now having worked on this second feature that we're working on for Meat Man, just knowing how much it takes, and then just multiply it by 10. It's like, what? I mean, you have to have a much larger team, way more money, for sure.
If you got a whole studio and millions of dollars, it's like.
But there's still so many logistical hurdles to jump through.
Yeah. I wonder if that ever goes away. Like there's got to be a point where you have so much money that like any logistical hurdle like is just maybe it's different kinds of hurdles. But I mean for us it's like the idea of even like for like right now, like from now to the end of Grundy, like when it's finished, that to me seems like it'll just be like a miracle to get it done.
Right.
Considering what I know we're going to have to go through and given the budget. But then there's a certain level where it's just like what to us will seem like this amazing, oh my God, I can't believe we did that. It's just like another day of work because there's just so much money and so much of a machine behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, technology and people like that, yeah, like there are ways to definitely, but I think what just amazes, I don't know what it is, just like the locations. I know they're probably using the volume or one of those LED sets that, you know, like you can do virtual backdrops, and that probably helps with it because you can shoot a bunch of different stuff on a soundstage. But it's cool. Whatever they're doing, however they're doing it, it's just so awesome to be in this world where so many things I feel like can be realized now. Like it's becoming easier for, maybe not easier, but more achievable for shows to just be like excellent. Oh, okay. So the second one, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
The second show, The Last of Us.
Yellowstone. Oh.
Did you
remember we were hanging out at home and somebody said like Yellowstone has all of our parents in a stranglehold.
Yeah,
somebody said like we were all like all of our parents watch Yellowstone.
Yeah,
they love it too.
I think when we were talking about when you were in, we talked about your parents were watching Tulsa King, right?
Oh yeah.
And then separately, like that very week, the holiday week, my like neighbor or like my father-in-law's neighbor or something also brought it up, and he's like around the same age demographic. And I just remember thinking like there's like tiers of shows that are just like generation wise, like, oh, these people are going to absolutely love this, eat this up. I mean, obviously a lot of people our age like Yellowstone and probably younger too, but like our parents, it's like crushing it.
Have you heard the term prestige TV?
I don't think so.
Okay, I was listening to, or Mary had on Chapo Trap House the other night, and they were talking about Tulsa King and all this other shit, and they kept using the term prestige TV, and I had never. I mean, it makes sense to me, like, yeah, we're the golden age of television, and prestige TV is like this tier of television that is like, you know, the best. And then, but I've never heard the term before, and then today I'm on like Instagram and I see like a meme with the word prestige TV in it. And it's just
okay. So what does it mean?
I think it's just like I think it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like
I mean, yeah, okay.
I
didn't know if it was just like self-determined. Like
15 shows that here. Let me do this. 15 shows that define prestige TV. Let's learn this together.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Seriously, what does it mean? This is from fansided.com.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like some culture website. We know prestige TV when we see it. For whatever intangible reason, we know exactly why The Handmaid's Tale is prestige TV, while How to Get Away with Murder just isn't. That's just how it is, like it or not.
Okay, so it is self-determined then.
So The West Wing they got a list of 15.
Yeah, hit me.
The West Wing.
Okay.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
24.
I never really watched it.
I wouldn't have considered that as prestige. The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
Lost. Mad Men.
Okay.
See, I'm getting a mixed bag here. I wouldn't have put Lost in this list. Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Game of Thrones. Homeland. Veep. The Americans, House of Cards, and True Detective at number 4. Interesting. Transparent. I've never even watched an episode of that. Atlanta at number 2, and then Handmaid's Tale at number 1.
Okay, super curious if they go into how they
There's little articles. They got little blurbs on all of them.
Little blurbs about it.
I wasn't going to read all of them, but...
Does it, like, have to do with production value or story or... Like, what criteria are they basing this on? We need to get really deep here. I need to really understand.
Dude,
Prestige TV. It sounds just like a snooty way of saying like, oh, that show is way better than the average shows.
What is it? I don't want to look at a Wikipedia article. Vulture.com. 13 signs you're watching a prestige TV show.
Oh, there we go. 13
Okay, here we go. Number 1, it's like a novel.
Okay.
It's not TV, it's literature, but with the title credits and 10 episode season order. It's a trope that dates back all the way to 1995, if you can believe it. The Wire and The Sopranos are probably shows that really ground this idea in our collective conversation, and in spite of a regular pushback from critics, it just will not go away. Number 2, it's like a movie. It's like kind of like what you said.
Okay.
It feels like it's like a 73-hour movie. The most egregious current example, so this was written a while. When was this written? This was written in 2017. Oh, man, we're way late on learning this term.
Yeah.
The fuck, dude? Are we living under a rock?
I guess so.
Are we living under the country of Iraq? Number 3, they're not episodes, they're chapters. It's not a first season, it's a pilot. It describes its first seasons as the pilot of the show.
Okay.
It's not just, okay. Winking self-awareness. Is this show in on its own joke? I wouldn't consider that a prestige.
I think that I don't know. I think that the whole terminology seems a little nebulous.
Number 6, darkness. Hey, stuff is serious. Definitely turn off most of the lights. Ideally, your primary color palette is also heavily tilted towards the browns and grays. If you must. I feel like there's some humor to this list as well. If they're just going to say
maybe
darkness.
they're also tongue-in-cheek. I don't know.
Number 7, what the hell is even happening right now? Maybe you're watching a prestige show because it's hard to see.
Okay, this is satire.
Maybe you're watching a prestige show because you can see it, but you still have no idea what's going on. Okay, this sounds like they're kind of poking fun at it.
Yeah, I see now. That makes me feel better.
All the pieces matter. Number 8. Number 9, The Sad Man. It's such a familiar trope by now. The books have been written on the topic. And it was the opening gamut of Vulture's 2013 Prestige TV rulebook. We've already taken some steps towards dismantling the white-knuckled grip that sad, violent men have had on Prestige TV protagonicity. Nevertheless, the idea has carried such juice over the past decade that the contours of it are absolutely still etched into our collective unconsciousness. Series TV is about probably middle-aged, probably white, probably deeply flawed men who are just struggling to make their own way through the world. Can't really disagree. Number 10, breasts.
Breasts. Just breasts.
11. Literally nothing is funny. Number 12. It's not just not funny. It's deeply depressing. 13, movie stars and directors. That's the list.
Okay. Let me ask you. Wait. First off, did you watch Last of Us?
I am currently engaged. Well, Game Goth is currently engaged with the source material. He's been playing the game, and honestly, dude, it's like a movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, duh.
There are so many scenes in there where I'm like, a video game should not be this emotionally charged, but it really, honestly, is.
So I'll take that as a no. You're waiting to finish the game, or Game Goth is. Well, how would you know what happens if Game Goth is playing it?
We're psychically linked.
Oh, okay, of course.
There's a psychic link between us, like Double Dragon, kind of.
So you're waiting, or are you just not planning on watching it?
I was going to watch the show the other night after having played it, but I was like, I'm saturating myself with this. I should watch something else. So I watched The Menu instead. But I mean, I think I will watch it because I am curious just to see how they adapt it. Like that to me, that is kind of. I'm very curious to see how they do it. But so maybe I'll. I imagine I'll start watching it before I finish the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's HBO, so they don't release it all at once. You gotta wait.
Yeah, it's weekly. So next is this Sunday.
Can I ask you where the first episode? Can I ask you how it started and ended? The first episode.
You want to know?
Well, yeah, because I know I'm far enough in the game that I've definitely covered the first episode.
Okay, so spoiler alert. I'm gonna just talk about the first episode of Last of Us. So it opens.
You would not want to?
No, I don't mind. I just there's okay. Like it's not exactly as the game, so I'm gonna even tell people some stuff that happens that doesn't even happen in the game in case they care. So the beginning.
You played the first game?
Yeah, I beat the first game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like partway through the second game.
Oh, okay.
And I was kind of like hoping when I started the show, I'm like, oh shoot, I wonder if the first season's gonna tiptoe into the second game because I didn't want to get anything spoiled for me.
I feel like there's no way, but
I feel like there's a lot. I feel like actually it would make sense to end the first season at the first game, but that's also a lot. So I don't know how they're going to do it. But either way, first episode starts with an added scene back in like the 1960s on a talk show about a scientist warning about a fungus that is able to spread and take over the population, kind of like ants, where it takes over their minds and makes them do things they don't want to do. And he kind of like sounds the alarm like, hey, this is very possible. And unlike viruses, if this happens with a fungus, like we won't win. And then flash forward, you see Joel with his daughter. And
really
they
quick,
have,
I just want to say that scene that they added, that sounds like, because I think it's in everyone's minds now that like there's always these warnings about the next pandemic. Because even how many people like were like referencing or like posting links to conferences and forums that were like, hey, there's another virus coming, so let's be prepared for it.
Yeah. I think it's totally prevalent. It's warranted, and the way they do it too is really creepy. And I even watched an interview with Craig Mazin. It says like the creepiest part is this could happen. Like the fungus, it's a real in the game and in the story. It's based on a real fungus in the real world. I don't forget what it's called, but if it were to make a mutation or whatever and be able to, penetrate humans or whatever, this is not like totally far-fetched. Like zombies or something that just seems to stem from nothing in certain shows. So that was kind of a cool setup. And then the rest of the episode, they show Joel with his real daughter. They give more backstory there, kind of like more connection there. Actually a surprising amount, which is nice because, okay, it's been a while since I played the first one. Does the game start like at midnight and you wake up as his daughter and the house is empty?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a significant amount of backstory with showing their connection, and then they start that. I mean, it's very similar. She wakes up looking through the house. They add a scene where she goes over to the neighbor, and the neighbor, like, this lady comes busting out of the house with like she's infected. Joel comes and saves her. They do the whole driving thing. All that happens. They go through, was it Boston? You see current situation. You meet Ellie. They get connected.
Wait,
Tess. Yeah.
Hold on. Does it? Wait. When the show starts, are they in Boston?
No, I think they're in Atlanta.
Okay. Because when I was playing the game, I was like, I missed that detail, because I sort of like realized they were in Boston, and then Joel has this southern accent, and I'm like, why does this dude have a southern accent if he's from Boston? And I was like, oh wait, the game didn't start there. Yeah,
and so it goes through. The first episode ends when they leave the containment zone, when Joel is taking Ellie with Tess, and they like leave the containment zone, and like it's cool. They're like walking, and it drifts up. The camera drifts up, and you see the buildings, like the skyscrapers, collapsed into each other, and then it like goes to black.
I remember that as a very iconic scene moment from the game.
Yeah,
games definitely they build those moments in where it's like you see this large landscape in front of you, like that you're gonna have to go into, and like I those buildings are pretty like memorable.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, you see them, and you're like, I want to go in those.
Go in there, and then you do.
Yeah, and then you get
That was when I first played through Last of Us. That was the part that I quit at because I think I was playing on a pretty hard difficulty, and I got into that section with the buildings, and it just something about the clickers. I don't know what it was. I was just like, fucking,
dude.
like.
Were you playing it on hard?
I think my first playthrough I did, and I put it down, and I was like, okay, this is. And it wasn't for a while that I think I picked it back up, but from the beginning because I hadn't played it in so long, and then I played it all the way through. But on an
Did you
easier.
play it on hard again?
No, I didn't, because my brother kept telling me about the second one. He's like, dude, you gotta play it. It's amazing. And he was just like, dude, I said, dude, I still have to play the first one. He's like, just blow through it. And that's what I did. I put it on the easiest difficulty. I didn't collect anything. I just got through it. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like playing for all the achievements. I was just playing for the story.
Game got this playing on hard right now.
Wow.
He's been playing on hard. He's pretty far into the game. So
what's Game Goth thinking of the game?
Game Goth really likes it. He really likes it.
Wow.
And
deep.
You know, he's not as pulled by the emotional scenes. His emotions are like a little dampened. Because he's not technically even a human being. However, because he was born during a new moon on a vernal equinox, he's not quite your typical clay golem.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't even be dumping this lore in a podcast episode. It's not even quite ready yet, but that's kind of some of the lore.
It seems like Game Goth needs his own feature.
He will get it eventually.
You have,
you know, but there's so much content that needs to be. There's so much other content happening right now that it's hard to focus. Especially,
it's just so much content.
There's so much content, and the way Game Goth would like to tell a story, it's of course like he wants to do it right. So it's definitely it feels like an insurmountable task.
Game Goth.
So he's just gonna keep streaming for a while, and
good for Game Goth.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, back to content. I was going to ask you after Last of Us, have you been watching any good content or TV shows in particular? Prestige TV. No?
I haven't been watching any Prestige TV. Have I? I watched a lot of Ink Masters. Is that Prestige TV?
I don't know if that's reality, right?
Yeah, it's not Prestige. I knew that when I said it. I'm watching this anime called that anime is not Prestige TV. There's a lot of anime right now, though.
I want to know what anime you're watching, though.
Baki?
I haven't heard of it.
It's about Baki. It's about like a really strong 17-year-old.
Oh, okay.
What was I listening to? I was listening to someone like break down like all these animes. It's like always these kids in high school that are like they shouldn't be this strong or this skilled. Or, like why are it's just a very violent anime about it's like I think it follows. There was a previous season I didn't watch that there was like this like fighting tournament. I didn't watch that one, so I think this follows that tournament.
Wait, you just jumped into a random show like in mid-season?
I didn't realize it was mid-season. They don't say like season 2, but there's another season called Baki Hanma that I think there's just in the season I'm watching. They reference this tournament that Baki had won. So I'm like, wait, was that a season that I'd missed?
Oh, and it's not just backstory. You feel like, it's clearly was actually.
I feel like I missed the whole thing. But also, animes are notoriously, they draw out so much shit. Like you can, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You could do a whole episode just characters looking at each other.
Pretty much, and yeah, and like there's one realization or one plot point that moves the thing forward. But it's kind of cool though, because it's like there's these 5 like convicts that escape, and then there's these 5 like really highly trained and really tough like tournament fighters, but they're fighting outside of tournament rules. It's like the fight. It's like this sanctioned fight between them that you can do anything. There's literally no rules. You can use weapons. You can attack whenever. It's like underground.
Guns?
They call. Yeah, sure. You can use guns if you want.
Oh,
it's just like it's like supposed to be like because normally they fight in tournaments, but this is like a real street fight. They like want to have real street fights.
Okay.
And it's just like very violent and like, you know, of course, like totally everything that happens is like totally unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
like people get stabbed in the face with like broken glass bottles, and like they keep fighting, they're fine.
A flesh wound.
Yeah.
Well,
just completely exaggerated and hyperbolic.
If I had more time, I would love to. I've always just wanted to dig into a random anime just from the start.
Here's what I think about content, Aaron. You have to pick. It's like you have to pick your specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You either have to watch a lot of like prestige TV. You got to choose. You got to be an expert in anime. You got to watch like Criterion films. Like that's its own category.
Are you a TikToker? Are you a Instagram Reels?
I think the best way to go about it is to like pick a genre of content and just stick with that. If you do too much going back and forth, you can kind of get lost in this like crazy jungle.
Do you think that like we talked about prestige TV, does that mean like TikTok content is like junk food? Like, do you see like tiers of quality, or like would you? Because here's the thing: is like I've watched some TikTok, like TikToks range so much, but they're mostly on the end of like shot with an iPhone, like really lo-fi production value. Still might be like fine, like good, but then there's TikToks where like people are shooting either with like a really nice iPhone or like even like a more professional camera and literally like editing it and resizing it and coloring it, and it feels like a movie, and I'm like, whoa, like
if it's like a movie, it's prestige.
It's prestige talks, dude.
Prestige
what do you think?
Talk.
Do you watch? Do you indulge? Do you think it's like junk food or?
I would put TikTok as junk food only in like if you look at it like it's just fast and quick, and it's just like because it's the whole like usually I'm usually sitting on the toilet when I'm looking at TikTok. So like in that context where I'm like I'm literally taking a shit and like just like scrolling through stuff. Yeah, it's like junk food for your brain.
Yeah.
But that being said, there are genuinely like really like there's really like creative, really cool and creative stuff on TikTok.
Lots of cool and creative.
So cool and creative, dude.
Okay, let's talk about the consumption of content. Because you feel like you had mentioned like watching a lot on the toilet, or like we both say like, oh, I'm rendering a video, let me just jump on TikTok, and like 15 minutes goes by and it's a time suck. Do you ever feel like you hit a peak and you're just like, this is just too much? Like you're just blah to like what you're watching, and do you ever hit that point where you're just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You're actively looking something up. What are you looking up?
I'm looking up, and I had tried to quote this dude before. Yeah, you're right, and I was trying to be all like cool and like quote some cool guy to say, hey, this guy said this about it. This poet Saul Williams, I was listening to an interview of his, and he said like you should treat your mind how you treat your body, and you should be intentional about what you put into it, because you can put junk food into your brain. And I'm not saying anything profound by saying this. Like everyone knows like reality TV is garbage, and there's nothing profound to say like watching a bunch of TikTok videos is probably a waste of time. So yeah, I think, and I was actually thinking about this today, that because, also because like we would like to make a living out of our creativity. And I think that your subconscious is a necessary tool. And like, I think an important step in being able to make a living off of being creative is having a very disciplined approach to your subconscious in such a way of what you should be very intentional about what you put into it. And then you need to have a disciplined approach with how you get stuff out of it, like sitting down and writing every day, or like blocking off time and like not being distracted, not procrastinating. So yeah, I think, am I answering your question here about like,
no, I don't. Yeah, I think so.
What was your question? I mean, because you said something about like watching TikTok, like watching too much. You said when is too much, and yeah, like there definitely is a line that's too much.
I guess I was more
Because
so it's just
when you at the end of the day, can you remember everything you saw when you were scrolling through any social media thing?
no.
Then what use was it?
I mean,
Other
you
than
could
to waste
remember
time.
something. I mean, like you could argue that you don't remember every interaction or every single thing you do the whole day, but it
Sure.
still could be worthwhile things. So I would argue the
Yeah,
same for
okay.
TikTok in that you might not remember everything, but like every once in a while you come across a video where you're like, "Oh, I got to share that. Oh, that's something to talk about. Oh, I found that interesting." And like here I am defending TikTok and like I clearly don't it's I think I think it inherently is probably not doing us any good truly like beneficial to us, but I would also
Yeah.
want I would wonder if they've done like brain studies and seen like
Well, haven't they? And they said,
did different parts of the brain light up if you're watching like let's say Breaking Bad or like prestige TV. Like we always say okay, TikTok is junk food. Okay, then what's other entertainment? Like yeah, sure, it's like shot with nicer cameras and like there's a story and blah blah blah, but like is it actually better for you mentally? Like, are you
they're all
stimulating
tools
parts
of the
of your brain?
bourgeoisie to numb the proletariat into a sedentary lifestyle, into a sedentary passive lifestyle where we work like little cogs, come home, watch our little shows, shut up, go to work, pay your taxes. And that, from that point of view, yeah, it's all bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
they
from
got
that
us.
point. But no, but I think, but there's obviously a difference between like, someone who's like making cool content on TikTok versus like, all the effort and energy that went into like writing The Sopranos.
Right? Yeah. No, I understand
I
that.
mean, throughout human history, because also if we want to go throughout human history, like storytelling is a form of entertainment, and so like we tell ourselves stories to help like relate to the world, and we do learn lessons from them, and they can be like enriching and beneficial and positive.
Well, I think that's why I feel different after watching the things. Like I don't know if I'm genuinely curious if there's studies that show like that certain entertainment over others is more beneficial. I mean, I guarantee it is. But I mean more so like TV or movies versus like TikTok or Instagram. But does it actually stimulate different parts of your brain? You know,
Right.
like it's clear that to me, I feel more engaged when I'm watching a show and I'm watching storylines come together and I'm hearing dialogue that's intricate and exciting and you know
Poetic even.
it's different than I feel when I'm watching TikTok and I come out of it feeling like I just ate a dozen donuts, like but
Well,
for
I
my
think
brain.
yeah. Well, then I think you've answered your question that like there is, and obviously I mean maybe we don't know like the science behind like we don't know the science behind it and the neurology or whatever's going on in your brain. There's like a dumb part of your brain. You got like the dumb part, and then you got the smart part. And watching TikTok and scrolling through videos activates the dumb part.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
with you
there's
there.
also something to be said around like unless your feed is very well curated, you might be watching something funny 1 second and then you're watching somebody die on the next video.
Well, that's
Or
yeah, I mean, that's the dilemma of the internet, especially things that are just like designed to
yeah.
hook you because it's an emotional roller coaster. That's why sometimes I need to continue telling myself like don't just if your day is going good. I've had like um bouts of days get ruined by just hitting Reddit for a second and scrolling across like Ukraine Russian combat footage. It's like, oh, here's a dude that's blown up inside of a ditch, like he's like hiding in a, and he just gets annihilated. And I'm like, cool. Like, why did I need to see that right now? Like, why was that
Because
placed
if
in
you
front
don't
of?
see it, then you're not aware and you're part of the problem.
Well, yeah. I mean, no, I'm not saying. Yeah,
Because
right.
if I'm
But I just mean like
I'm joking when I say that,
no, I know, and I know, and I.
but
But
I'm
there
also
is a
not.
sliver of truth
I'm
to
also
that
yeah. There's also I'm being completely
where I'm
serious.
not trying to be ignorant of what's happening in the world, but also I don't like need to see that to know what's I
Even
don't know.
We need to go back to a kid on the street corner going X3, and you grab a paper and the photos are in black and white, and it just so
feels
there's a
so
few
detached.
degrees.
Yeah, because soon we're gonna wake up with it on our face. You're gonna be like, time for my day, and you're gonna put the VR goggles on, and it's gonna be like,
it's like, check out this. Yeah, this like.
You're
step
living
inside
it.
the boots of a soldier on the front lines, and you can literally. They'll have their 3D cameras strapped to their helmets, and you can.
You ready to see war today?
You put on your haptic suit, and you can feel yourself getting shot.
Go, soldier, go!
You can smell the burning flesh. You can feel the emotions. This whole concept has probably been written in sci-fi. I think there was something in Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? There was actually something similar to that, what I just said.
Yeah, I believe it.
Where there's like this thing you step into, and you actually like live out this experience of someone being like crucified or something, and it's supposed to be this kind of like community building. Well, I don't fucking know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're forgetting about Gamer.
That was Gamer? Was that the one where the kids would step into the haptic suits and like they would be controlling prisoners?
Each week, Cable, Gerard Butler, a death row inmate, battles his fellow prisoners in a violent online game called Slayers, his every move controlled by a young gamer's remote device. To the players, Cable and the other inmates are just simulated characters, but to the resistance group that opposes the game's inventor, Cable is a critical component of their plan to end the inventor's form of high-tech slavery.
Wait, in the movie, have you seen the movie?
I don't know, but it reminded me of it when we were talking about this.
Yeah. I actually do want to see it, but you explaining it, I'm like,
we either need to turn this podcast or we need to have a spin-off podcast. There's so many movies I think of that I'm like, I just want to watch it and talk about it. We'll just do our own little commentary track or just like a little recap. I don't know what it is, but there's like a long list, and they're not. Vinny, I have to warn you, it's not prestige movies, okay? But that's what would make it so good.
Those are sometimes the most entertaining ones to watch.
Absolutely. That's why we gotta put together a list, because there's so much good stuff to get to.
And I think it's nice too when it's like a list of older movies, because then we can just spoil it without like caring.
Why doesn't everybody in the comments tell us? Would anybody be down to join us on a wild ride down some more obscure old films?
Well, we talked about that. This whole podcast and one of the early concepts was literally just going to be like a film club, and then we would just
and then we kind of brought it open.
Yeah. So and Aaron, this is why we need rebranded the Vinny and Aaron show, and then from there we have. It just seems like a more appropriate foundation for something like a film club sub-series.
See, I almost want it to be its own thing, but that would limit us.
A whole other podcast? Dude,
I know, we can't even keep up with this one. Yeah, no. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's like a monthly thing or something. I
think we absolutely should do that, because I know if we can't do it every week. I know, knowing your schedule, how you are and I am, there's no way we're both going to find time every week to watch one movie. We're not going to be able to dedicate 2 hours to watching a movie and another hour to talking about it every week and do this.
Yeah, that's true.
It's too much content.
It's too much content. We're just contributing to the content machine.
Burn yourself out, dude. I'm thinking about getting an AMC Stubs membership.
Is that like $20 and then you could see as much as you want?
It's $25. You can see 3 movies a week.
3 a week? That's really good.
If you see 2 a month, you paid for it.
But would you?
I would like to start. Because Aaron, I would like my content discipline to remain in the movie realm.
Sounds like right now it's a lot of streaming, a lot of anime. Yeah, it's kind of like not so much movies.
I'm kind of
so I think it would be a big shift. That. You're kind of a mixed content bag.
I am, and I think most people are like that.
But you started off by saying like people need to pick a lane. Yeah,
and maybe I was talking to myself when I said that. Maybe I should take a dose of my own medicine.
I like it.
Maybe I should listen to my own advice before I go shouting it at others.
I respect that.
We're not helping by making this podcast, you know?
No, not at all. We're just putting more out into the ether.
We're contributing to the problem. Dude, one day we're going to run out of server space.
Oh, it's true. It's true. And that'll be the end of it all.
Well, speaking of the end of it all.
Speaking of the end of it all, I have one more announcement before we cap off this episode 47. Content. Speaking of, guess what else is coming to physical content? It's all good. Finally, whoa. I just ordered, literally tonight, I just ordered the first copy, the test copy from the distributor. We got all the artwork in. We got the whole DVD built. It's got some cool bonus features. We got like audio commentary. We got deleted scenes. We got the trailer. We got bloopers. Yeah.
Bloopies.
And
whoopsies.
It would be really cool to have everybody check out a copy if you want, because I think hopefully once I get it, it's going to be a really nice physical item to have. So that's coming soon. We'll give more info when it is released.
Fiat content you can hold in your hand.
That's right, baby. All right, that's all I got to add. Vin, I had fun on this going down content lane with you.
Yeah, dude, me too. Okay, but seriously, is rebranding something we're actually considering doing?
I'm just waiting on you to do it. My whole plan was like keep agreeing with you, but then kind of like I'm trying to make you do it. Like, oh yeah, Vin, like we could, yeah, go ahead.
No, okay. Here's the one piece of the puzzle that I need to know. It's all the back end stuff. It's the it's the Instagram, it's the TikTok, it's the Patreon, even it's the Buzzsprout, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's
like changing all the URLs and stuff.
Yeah, is that like can we even do that, or do we have to like
I'll have to see. I don't know.
You'll have to. No, you say, Vin, you figure that out. I can figure it out. I just thought
just
maybe
send me a reminder. I'll check into it. I'll look into it.
Off the top of your head.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know some things are easier than others. Oh, hey,
because it's just.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure if we do it, it's like we dedicate one day to doing it, and then it's just done. So it's not like the podcast is called something else, but it's still like under the Fonecallz name if you like Google search it or something, you know.
Yeah, agreed.
It's gotta be one clean sweep.
Okay, yeah. Hey, one other thing I want to mention to everybody who wants to support Fonecallz or whatever this is about to become, go subscribe to our YouTube if you have a second to do it, just because we are so close to hitting the partner threshold, which I believe is 1,000 subscribers. Like once you get that, then we could monetize the videos and just be like extra way to support, and it's like free for you guys. So please go subscribe and that'll help. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Fonecallz or whatever it's called.
Bye.
It's Fonecallz.